guys, it's Lily and you're watching Lily Elaine Reads. Today is the first installment of a new series called Poety. Basically, it's a mashup of two words, poetry and tea. And my idea for this series is that I'll spend some time and I'll have a cup of tea, which I have like right next to me. I'll talk a little bit about the tea, maybe the mug I have, and then we'll delve into some poetry that I've found for this month. Something that maybe interests me that I wanted to share with y'all. So yeah, let's get started. Also, if you have any suggestions on how I can improve this series or any other series you'd like me to start on this channel, feel free to comment down below and I'd love any recommendations. So today I went with my all-time favorite tea, which is peppermint tea. This one is by the brand Celestial Seasonings and it is actually caffeine free. I got this while I was working at camp because I wanted to have something with my dinner or dessert that wasn't going to get me all hyped up for the night because I needed to wind down. So I really recommend this tea. I'm not much of a herbal tea except for this one. So you'll see me picking more like fruity teas, I suppose, but peppermint will be an all-time favorite for me. And today the mug I am using is this L mug that you can buy at Anthropology. I actually got this as a gift for my birthday in November from two of my friends, Erica and Ashlyn. So thank you very much for this mug. I love it. It's really cute and white and gold, and it like was a perfect tea mug. My tea is still really hot at the moment because I just prepared it like a few minutes ago. So I'm just going to give it some time to cool down before I take my first sip because the last thing I want is to burn my mouth. That would suck. And then, so of course, the poetry piece we'll be talking about is actually a poetry book. It's a collection of poems. I got this book for Christmas, and it's something I've had my eye on for a while. So this is 18 Years by Madisen Kuhn. I really hope I didn't just butcher her last name. MK, or Madisen Kuhn, is very well renowned on Tumblr and Instagram, which is actually where I found her. She posts a lot of her poetry on her social medias, and it got a lot of recognition back in 2003, I believe, with one of her like better known poems, Who Are You Really?, which if you're familiar with MK, you're definitely familiar with that poem. What really inspired me to pick this up was the fact that she's just a college girl who just wrote a bunch of poems about her life. They're pretty raw when you read them, and therefore I feel like I'm really connecting with her when I read her work, and I feel like I'm not the only one going through some of the things that she might be facing, and she really does like honestly depict like the mindset of like a teenage girl and like her struggles. And this actually goes through, I want to say, a few years of seasons. She breaks it up as like so like for example, this one's winter 2012 to 2013, and it's all the poetry that she wrote that kind of like defines that time in her life. And it's really interesting to just like read through this and go through the seasons with her throughout like the past 4 years and kind of just like understand like what she's been through, like what's kind of made her the person she is, and she just has like a really interesting perspective. So I'm just gonna pick out one of my favorite poems and read it to you. Of course, I am no Shakespeare. I'm kind of bad at reading poems, so we're just gonna give this a shot. So this is one of my favorites. It's called 2 in the Morning. So if you have the book, it's on page 105, and it says, I think if we pressed our thumbs on little ink pads and left our fingerprints on an unmarked page side by side, they would look like a lock and key. The swirls of mine would fit perfectly in yours, much like I imagine I would fit in the comfort of your arms. And so just like the title, of course, you like think about it and you're like, well, 2 in the morning, so she could either be writing this at 2 in the morning, it could be her thoughts at 2 in the morning, but it's really interesting just the way she writes this down. It's not your typical like stanza by stanza, and in a few cases, if I can find them, she writes in just like paragraphs, which I've never seen done before, although I have only been studying really academic poetry like the English teachers give us. But I thought this was really interesting, and it brings us back to like when she first got her start with poetry back on Tumblr, and it was just like text posts of just like what was buzzing in her mind. And often for her Instagram, she will just like write like whatever she's like what she did that day, and it just like somehow comes together as so poetic. So like even in this case, like with this poem Red Ink, it's just very much like just a depiction of her thoughts. And also I've noticed she doesn't ever capitalize, which I thought was really interesting. Her eyes and stuff are all lowercase, and I think it just makes it more casual. I think she's really more focused on the interpersonal connection she can make with the readers and the thought process that they go through as she goes through when she writes this. And I think it just like takes away from the formality and like strictness of like this poetry we've all been exposed to before in school. So I really do like what she does here. This collection of poems is I think $18. She now has them on Amazon. I know you can get some sort of discount. She had mentioned it before on her Instagram, which I'll link below, by the way. I'll link below her Tumblr and her 2 Instagrams. She has one for her official poetry and one for her personal. As well as her YouTube. She makes YouTube videos. They're really amazing and inspiring. They're actually pretty simple, but like it's really interesting to see someone else's like life. Like she just really has this interesting perspective to life and how you should like take every moment that comes. And yeah, she's just a really inspiring person, and it's really interesting. Just like she's my age, she's a little bit older, but I don't know. She's not a celebrity. It's really interesting to look up to her and like kind of like read along with her and like go through her life with her. And I don't know, I just think she's just a really interesting person. So if you haven't checked out MK, I definitely recommend that you do, and definitely get her book. It is amazing, as well as the illustrations that are included here, like for each beginning of like the part, like these flowers for example. I just think like there was a lot of talent and hard work, sweat and tears that went into the making of this collection of poems, and you all should give it a go. So that about wraps up this poetry. I haven't even had a sip of my tea yet. Wow, that just defeats the purpose. That's really good. Now I am going to probably sit and drink and read this, and maybe watch some TV. It's Sunday. I have homework to do. Oops.